Hey guys, and welcome back to A&J Education YouTube channel. In today's video, we're talking about studying engineering in the UK. So if you're interested in engineering, keep watching. Okay, so today we are very fortunate to have my colleague Sam. And Sam is it first year now or
second year PhD student.
Wow, time flies. So Sam is a second year PhD student at University College London, UCL. And Sam, great to have you with us today, and thanks for coming to talk about engineering.
Yes, no, thank you for having me.
So listen, let's dive straight into it. What has been, you know, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? You know, what are you doing? Where are you doing it?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm 24. I'll be 25 this year. I am doing, my PhD is kind of the umbrella topic is kind of clinical biomechanics and it's designing collars for people living with motor neuron disease.
Collars like
trauma collars. So when you see in, like, I don't know if you ever watch like A&E, 24 hours in A&E or hospital programs, they kind of apply neck collars to patients to stabilize their neck, kind of either pre-hospitalization or kind of after they come out of like a surgery around the neck. They'll normally whack a collar around it to kind of stop movement, restrict your movement, and kind of make sure that you're not going to do anything to damage your neck further. And those collars are currently being used by motor neuron disease patients. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that they don't really want the restriction. They just need the support because there's nothing fundamentally wrong. It's just their muscles stop working. So kind of background into motor neuron disease, essentially the signals to the muscles stop.
Okay.
Therefore, they lose that kind of muscle. And it affects everyone differently. It's a very sporadic disease. There's no kind of cure currently. So what we're trying to do is just find a way to improve the quality of life for the patient. So neck collars. So it's and we're doing that kind of via 3D scanning. So using the patient's own geometry, whereby we can customize the collar specifically for them to help them in the areas that they need.
Cool. Well, if you don't want to have social life and lots of sleepless nights, you know what to pursue. But Sam, can you walk us through your journey? So how do you transition from being a 14-year-old angry, confused teenager into a 24-year-old researcher in this really important and needed topic?
Like most 14-year-olds, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was older. I had an inkling. I kind of enjoyed. So during my GCSE time, I did like a placement couple of weeks and I did that funnily enough, at a veterinary school because I thought that was the kind of route I wanted to go down, was the kind of the medical route. And then kind of got to GCSEs and started sitting them, and actually I fell back in love with kind of physics and maths and started to really enjoy kind of applying them in situations. So then for my A-levels, that kind of led me into my A-level choice, which was design and technology, which then was kind of focusing on the engineering resistant materials. So kind of obviously your steels, your woods, kind of mechanics. Obviously then physics, maths as well. And then kind of my fourth one was economics, just to kind of add some breadth to.
So you're saying from the A-level stage already you kind of started narrowing it down?
Yeah, I had that kind of inkling of, okay, maybe a veterinary isn't for me. I'm more comfortable with physics and maths, more so than like biology and chemistry. So I lent into my strengths a bit. And I thought, okay, well, what can I do with this? And then kind of through just having a look online and speaking to people and kind of speaking to careers advisors at the school, they kind of said, oh, well, have you thought about an engineering topic? It could be chemical, electrical, mechanic. And so then I started to look at all the different kind of topics out there and kind of what I was doing and what I enjoyed doing. And part of the design and technology course that I did at A-levels, I enjoyed the design part. So I thought, okay, great. Is there like a design mechanical engineering course out there? Which ultimately there was at Plymouth University. So that's actually where I went to first for my undergrad, and I did 4 years there.
Okay, so you do 3 years at Plymouth, and then do you go straight into PhD? And do you need a PhD to be in your field?
Not at all. So so my course was 3 years, but then I did a industrial placement just for my third year, so kind of extended my kind of time in Plymouth to 4 years, and that was so that I got an experience. So I had a look and thought, okay, well, I'm enjoying the designing part of the course, so I found a placement which was suitable. It was like a design engineer, and so I went and did that for a year, and I did enjoy it. It was in like a factory setting, which was obviously very new for me, kind of obviously just being in education, not really having that much scope as to what the world is like in engineering. Yeah. It was very useful, and it's something I would recommend to students if they have the opportunity to get some experience whilst they're going through their degree, in their undergrad especially, then that will hopefully help them make decisions as to what they want to do after uni, whether it's job, more research, a master's, etc. So
it just looks great in your CV as well.
And it really bolsters the CV. A lot of employers, they will look for kind of signs of experience. And obviously it is hard if you're just doing a 3-year course and you're just straight in university, so you kind of have to sell yourself where you can. So, but then even doing like a summer placement, so there's loads of summer industrial placements with engineering firms, whether it's kind of on the shop floor in a factory or kind of in the design studio or finance department, you can get experience in other departments elsewhere, and that just helps.
Yeah. Guys, and just to add, if you're anywhere between 13 or up to 25, every 3 weeks I write a newsletter, and the link is down below, which is totally free, and my colleagues and I collate some of the best CV building opportunities, so conferences, seminars, workshops that you will not find anywhere else, that you can sign up, you can participate, and even just attending that stuff looks great in your CV, gives you something to talk about, and you can then always, cold email some companies, and when you're doing your interviews, you say, look, I've done this seminar, this is my understanding of the topic. It's all free. It's stuff that you can do online that significantly, will make you stand out. So do check it out. Anyway, shameless plug aside.
Nah, silly, you got to get it in.
Yeah. So you've done 3 years of Plymouth placement, and then straight onto PhD.
No, so I then went and did a master's. So it was a postgrad master's at Leeds for 1 year, and the reason I chose this was I was in my final year at Plymouth. And it was obviously straight after my placement, and I was thinking, okay, so what is it that I'd like to do? And then I was kind of looking around at kind of courses, and I was like, okay, well, I did enjoy the design side, but there was a reason I went to the veterinary side initially, kind of back during my GCSEs, because I was the medical side, and I've come from, my sister's a nurse, my mum was like a matron, so kind of got that kind of medical side as a background in my family. So I was like, okay, well, is there any way I can extend and apply the mechanical side into the medical side? And so kind of through research, I found that Leeds did the Advanced Mechanical Engineering Masters, and as optional modules, you could choose things like biomaterials, how materials interact within the body, and kind of designing for humans, ergonomics, and kind of all of that. So that was like, okay, that's great. I will go and do that, because then that helps me kind of carve the path that I want to go to, and that's kind of bridging the gap between kind of medicine and kind of engineering.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's really cool. And so then was it a smooth transition onto the PhD? Why did you decide to do the PhD?
So, yeah, it was, so I initially, something I thought about again during my undergrad and during my master's was like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying learning. That was something I really did enjoy through my undergrad and postgrad, was I did enjoy learning and applying what I'd learned into scenarios. And I thought, well, at the moment, I'm only ever doing it for coursework, not really doing it for an actual application. So I thought, well, okay, PhD might be something to look at, but also I do want a job. So actually during my because unfortunately when I did my master's, it was the year that COVID hit, so I had to kind of cut my time in Leeds short, and just like everyone else, around March 2020, I moved back home and completed my master's from home, which was fine. But I started looking at kind of jobs and PhDs kind of simultaneously, just to see what was out there in the current climate, and also what really took my what gave me that spark of kind of, oh, this is something I really want to do, that kind of intrigue.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I did it, and it was just so happened that I kind of found the PhD project, and it was something that I was really invested in straight away. And I was like, no, this is something that I'd like to do because it has the design aspect,
Yeah.
it has that kind of medical aspect, and it kind of is the classical multidisciplinary topic which engineers are kind of more than familiar with. So yeah, you get a little bit of everything. So it kind of ticked all my boxes. So that's why I kind of chose to do the PhD.
That's great. That's great. Sam, listen, just wrapping this up, to someone who's, angry and confused watching this at home, considering what to do in life, what would your top 3 tips about engineering specifically be to these people watching you now? Okay,
so number 1, I would say don't fret and don't stress. Engineering is a very accessible course and topic. You don't have to do physics and maths like I did. You could do biology and chemistry and still get into engineering. So don't stress about kind of modules or courses like at A-levels that you choose to do is number 1. Number 2, your first year at kind of engineering is always bringing everyone up to the same level. So again, that is kind of ties in with the first one. It is very accessible. So, you will be taught everything you need to know and there is no stress there. And number 3, enjoy it. Engineering is a fantastic subject. It impacts our lives in ways we don't even realise. You may think engineering is just factories and building stuff, but actually, it goes down to the sound equipment, the lighting equipment in theatres, into medicine, into the syringes, into the computers. It impacts our lives in many different ways. So there is something for everyone in engineering.
Great. Well, guys, there you have it from the man himself. But for now, Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All the best.